Welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. Yes, it is Monday, which means Ask Me Anything. Monday, AMA, 7 p.m. on the East Coast. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, please like, comment, share. Let people know I'm doing this. Let people know you're watching so that people can check it out. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, whatever's your thing, go ahead. And of course, if you like what I'm doing and you want me to keep doing it, I want to also support me. Patreon.com/SharpeWay. If you got the big dollars, $100 a month would be awesome. If you don't have that, no worries. $10 is fine, $20, $5 is fine. All good. If you don't have any of that, of course, you can always help by supporting my sponsors, theadvocates.org. If you've taken it already, no worries. Share it with your friends. Head to your friends. Send us and say, hey, where do you stand on the issues? And that, of course, ask them to post their results. That'd be awesome. If you are a CBC aficionado, of course, grownselection.com, Sharpeway 20 for 20% off. Today, I want to talk about something that I think may be kind of a silver lining to the horribleness that is COVID and the government response to COVID, right? So many bad things have happened due to the government response to COVID. So many people have been hurt and so many things have been shaken up. But there may be a silver lining. And I'm unsure of that, but there might be a silver lining. And the silver lining might be that when it comes to both education and healthcare, in the long run, this may be a good thing, right? I mean, short run, I know for those of you who've had health issues over this, oh my God, it's been a disaster. Education all over the place. But this might be the shakeup or the struggle that will speed up actual positive change. I'm not saying I know this for sure. I don't. I feel like it will. And I guess the other issue is I hope it will, right? I hope that out of this terrible 2020, we can come out with something that might be a bit more positive. Now, a couple of things I want to bring up. The first one, I think, is kind of funny, and that's about education, right? This is a piece from months ago, probably 4 or 5 months ago. Hassan Minhaj has a TV show on Netflix called, I've actually forgot what it's called. Patriot Act? Is that what it is? Something like that. Yes, something like that. And he talks about education, how it's changed due to COVID, but there may be some positive things, some issues that we have to work on. Let me give you a clip of that real fast, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Schools going online also meant that students weren't getting what they had paid for.
Yes.
And a lot of them were pissed.
Yes.
Students are suing 2 major universities in New England,
demanding repayment for their tuition and their room and board.
It's just kind of wild to think that we have to pay $55,000 for basically the same thing you could find on a Coursera or edX.
Holy shit.
$55,000 for online classes. I give online classes. Mine are a whole lot less than $55,000. Clearly, I've been making a mistake. But that's where I've been.
$55,000 for a glorified masterclass? That's enough to take screenwriting with Aaron Sorkin and buy the mountain of cocaine he used to write A Few Good Men. So far, students around the country have filed at least 100 lawsuits for refunds.
Bingo. That's not going to change, guys. And that's my point. I mean, we're not going to further this, but you get my point. This was 6 months ago. How about now? Right? Are you going to want to spend, if you're a parent and you're going to help your kid out, if you're a kid, you're going to go, you go back to school because the response to COVID put you out of work and you're going to go back to school and get a degree and change your career. Do you want to drop 50 grand? Do you want to drop 20 grand for online courses? And they will tell you, and they have been saying this for years. Any of you have been through the college experience or going to college, they will tell you, the experience of the actual it's the campus and all of these things. You can't do this online. You can't get this online. Well, now we're not getting it except online. So how about you cut my tuition, I don't know, by 2/3 or more? The advantage of this is college is not going to be the same, and it simply is not going to be as expensive. It cannot be. So as expensive as it's been, it cannot be as expensive anymore. It just can't. People aren't going to pay for it, right? I have 2 daughters. And I'm already considering, do I really want to send them to college? I'm already thinking that already. And I've got 2 daughters. I'm thinking maybe I don't want to drop 100 grand for some degree that's going to get them nothing so that's clearly just keeping other people happy for some reason, but not dealing with my daughter at all. And I think a lot of us are going to start thinking about that, which means it will have to adjust or change. How, I don't know yet, but it should become more affordable, I hope, or become more valuable, right? Because the problem is it's not valuable. That's the issue. It's not worth, a degree like that is definitely not worth 55 grand a year. That's for sure. That I'm sure of. Not worth that. Whatever it's worth, it's not 55 grand. I think that's my issue when it comes to education. I'm going to grab a couple of comments if I can to kind of maybe go through this. Thank you for bringing it up, David. I appreciate that. Hey, guys, how are you? No, Joe's against it. He thinks no. He thinks in the long run it's not going to be good. I don't know. Maybe you're right, Joe. I don't know. It's a gut I have, right? It's a gut feeling. And, of course, Pete to Ted. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Yes. Will Grinch Cuomo cancel Christmas? Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Stop believing in authority and stop believing in each other. Oh, I'm so stealing that, Pete. And I'm giving you like no credit for it. I'm just going to take it. I'm going to use it and act like it's mine. I'm so stealing that. Stop believing in authority and start believing in each other. Yes. Stolen. Thank you so much. That's very good. Yes, absolutely. Let's see. If we help people find a better alternatives to government schools, I think that would be great. Yes. See, thank you for bringing this up, Richard. I just brought up the idea of college, but it's not just college. I mean, both of my kids right now are basically being homeschooled. I mean, officially they're in school. They are. Officially they're in school. My youngest one is 10. She does like a couple of hours Zoom call. My oldest one's 16. She does a couple of hours Zoom call. They have tons of homework and that kind of stuff. And my wife and I, we're more engaged now than we probably ever have been, which I'm actually happy about, right? We split up things. Like I take social studies and science, and my wife takes math. I take math sometimes too. She takes English. So we swap with what we take, right? We're better at here or there. So it actually has been pretty good with our kids. And my daughter now my oldest has been doing more stuff too on her own. So again, maybe it's time to start looking at homeschoolers. Yeah, homeschoolers aren't looking so stupid now, are they? Well, I never thought they looked stupid, but people thought they looked stupid. I think that's true. People thought that. Well, not so much, huh? Yeah, exactly. A little bit more respect for the homeschooling parent now, I bet. I bet that's true. So I think it's another good thing, right? Can we have a way of doing that? Why in the world are my taxes so high paying for school buildings when there's no one in the building, right? Why am I paying for that building? Again, we have to start making, changes if we can, right? We have to make some changes if we can. And I hope that when it comes to education, this is our time, our wake-up call, if it makes any sense. Exactly right. That we'll change how we start thinking about education. I really hope we do, right? I think we can do that. As a college student, you find very rare professors who actually care about their students. I'll tell you something. There's a part that's very true, right? And I don't mean by care. Maybe that's not what I mean when I say it. A lot of college professors don't actually want to teach. That may sound crazy for those of you who don't know this world, but Andrew's right. A lot of them don't want to teach. I'm not sure if they care about their students or not. I'm not sure that's part of the equation for them as a, as a whole. Some I'm sure don't, but I'm sure some do. The thing is, many of them go to particularly Ivy League schools because they want to do research. They want to write papers and write books and present information and raise money and things for grants and stuff. That's one of the bigger reasons for going to these schools. So who teaches? Well, they hire guys like me to teach because I like teaching. Or they get, of course, the most common thing, teaching assistants to do a lot of the teaching. Of course, because they'd rather be doing that. And I think it's true. Again, I think that has to begin to go away too. Now those teachers and those professors, maybe they should be part of private industry and be doing that. Maybe they should be working direct with the Pfizers of the world or whatever is the equivalent company that you want to work with versus working for, I don't know, at Harvard or something, whatever, they're dealing with, right? Yes. Can't help but think of your education policy when you run for governor. Yes, absolutely. That's my point. Maybe now is the time to make those changes. Absolutely. Have a stepdaughter chose a college that was known for in-person instruction at that time. When COVID hit, they had to scramble to figure out how to teach online. Yes, and I'm sure, John, she paid for it. I'm sure she's paying for in-person. You can get your money back now. You're not delivering what you want. But here's the problem with college, right? The problem with college, and it's the problem that does not exist in other parts of our retail world. When you purchase something, the people who give you the service are supposed to end up with something, right? So if I pay a company to fix my bathroom up and make it look pretty. At the end of the time I pay them the money, the bathroom's supposed to look pretty and work, right? That has to work. There's some value at the end. If I pay someone to teach me how to speak Spanish, at the end of it, I should be able to speak Spanish, right? There's something at the end that I get, some value that I've achieved because I paid this fee for someone to do something for me, right? Whatever. I pay someone to build an app for me. At the end, I have an app that, of course, functions. If it doesn't function, maybe there's a lawsuit. When it comes to college, what do they have to give you? Nothing. A sheet of paper if you work hard enough. That's it. They give you a sheet of paper. There's no guarantee that you know anything, that you've learned something, that you can get a good job, that you have a better chance at success in life. None of that. They don't guarantee anything. They guarantee show up, we'll yell at you. If you don't got professors, too bad. At the end, you'll get a sheet of paper. Good luck. Thanks for the check for 50 grand a year for that. That has to change. And I think COVID will make that, will make that change. I really think that that's going to be something that will adjust or shift. And of course, the other thing I want to bring up when it comes to non-college, right, which is testing. A lot of kids aren't testing now. They're not doing SATs or PSATs or, excuse me, other tests, other standardized tests, and people are at a loss. How are we going to know what's going on? They're not testing. Well, it wasn't that important in the first place, was it? As I talked about with my policies, right? My whole policy was get rid of standardized testing until high school. The only use of it is to decide how federal funds are distributed. That's it. There's no other value to it. Maybe now it's time to take it away. Excuse me. Maybe now it's time to get rid of that. That might be a good idea. I love that idea. So, all right. I'm going to show something else if I could. This is talking about Amazon and healthcare. Another thing that I think may change tremendously the future of healthcare. Let me grab this one real fast.
To Quick Take Charge, I'm Tim Stanovic. The world's largest online retailer is pushing its way into selling prescription drugs.
Yes.
The brand new Amazon pharmacy will let shoppers pay.
Amazon pharmacy. Come on. Something like 80% of all, U.S. households has some kind of relationship with Amazon. I don't know if it's that around that number. 80%, something like that, has a relationship with Amazon. Amazon's going to crush your local pharmacist now. Now that's going to be done online too.
Using their health insurance. And Prime members who don't use their insurance are eligible for discounts.
Now, Prime members who don't use their insurance are now able to get discounts because they're Prime members, which means literally now Amazon can become basically an insurer for your prescription drugs. They'll buy in bulk massively. Of course, they'll make massive deals. They'll buy massive deals to put in their warehouses. And then you'll, instead of being Prime, you'll be Prime Plus, which means you get dirt cheap drugs. Why do you require insurance for drugs anymore? Why require that part in Medicaid? Was it Part D, is it? I forgot which one it is. Whichever part it is that covers your drugs. Just become the Amazon Prime, Super Prime member, and now that takes care of that. This may shake up the insurance industry. This may shake up the pharmaceutical industry. If most people want to buy their drugs and their pharmaceuticals through Amazon, or in theory, a competitor, Amazon, in theory, a competitor, then all of a sudden now the idea of the government being able to buy in bulk or whatever they were supposed to be able to do, Amazon will actually do. So wait a minute. Could it be a private company would find a way to lower healthcare costs? What? Yeah, this might be part of our future, right? Now, of course, if you still have your insurance, that's awesome. What if you don't? What if an Amazon Prime membership, which I think costs whatever it costs, whatever it is per month, maybe it triples per month, whatever, or quadruples per month if you want to get your drugs here. Still way cheaper than most insurance. Way cheaper than most insurance. Not a bad deal. Others will probably copy. This could be a big change in how we deal with this.
On the Amazon site, or at about 50,000 pharmacies that are participating in the program.
There we
On
go.
the phone to discuss is Bloomberg.
So that's a piece that I thought you might want to see, but that piece to me made me think, wait a minute, this might be changing everything. This really could be changing a lot. All right. I'm going to steal that and give you no credit. Our government. Yes, see, I would have been an awesome governor. I could just steal stuff and give no credit. Bruce, I was made for this. Clearly, I was made for this. Yes. I was heartbroken for my senior who graduated this year, and now I'm actually grateful that we're done with this mess. Oh, interesting way to look at it. That's a good spin on that, Karen. That's a good spin on that. Yeah, they're done. They've got to figure out how to do things. But my biggest worry is for your senior right now. Who are they going to college or not? Right? If they're going to college, are they paying these high prices that in the future they don't have to pay? Are they going into debt, in which case it's going to seem silly 10 years from now when I got my degree, in 6 years from now for 20 grand total and someone else paid 200 grand or something like that. That's my other concern, right? And then is this going to encourage the government to go, let's forgive all the debt? Does it also wind up happening? Maybe. I vote for the Thomas Jefferson approach, simple bacon, books, and good friends, and leave me and mine the hell alone. That's a way, yes. And I'm not against that, right? I'm absolutely against that. If a high school diploma in today's world is valuable, then people will go for a high school diploma. If a college degree is valuable, then people will go for a college degree, Jonathan. That's what will happen. So do you want to have minimum standards within your state? Fine. I'm okay with that, whatever that minimum standard is. But why would I have to go for something else? And why do I have to go the way the state tells me to go? If the state wants to have standards on saying people should be literate and read and write and things of that sort, I'm totally fine with that concept. Sure. Yep. Maybe have a statewide test that you have to pass to be considered literate. I love that concept. The Japanese have something similar to that, but they obviously have a mandatory school system, as we do also. But if you want to have something like that, but the government doesn't care how you get there, I'm okay with that. That's a great step, right? You want to get your elementary school, you want to get your high school, whatever, you've got to get to these standards, and the government says, yes, we certify you as 6th grade literate, 12th grade literate, high school diploma, insert thing here that your state wants to do. No problem with that. But if they allow you, Jonathan, to find a way to get there, I don't mind that either, right? You could pick the government way if you thought that was going to work well for you. You could pick the private school way if you thought that was. You could pick the religious school way if you think that's the right way for you, or the bacon, books, and good friends method, as long as that gets you to that spot. I said many times, I don't care how your kid learns 2 + 2 is 4. Just learn 2 + 2 is 4 so you can survive in our world and function. So I'm actually with you. Yes. Is the government going to let 90% of small restaurants go under through restrictions? Yes. William, I think the government will allow all to happen. Yes. And the big business will survive. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. So let's see if I can grab a couple more. There's a high possibility that I will be appointed to the county board of representative. Yes. And I'll be the first Libertarian on it. The vote is for Wednesday, so let's hope to God I get appointed. That'd be awesome, Andrew. I hope so. Ron Paul homeschool. James, this is the time. This is exactly the time, right, for these types of things to happen. The worry, of course, will be that a bunch of charlatans will pop up and there'll be crappy homeschooling and crappy this and crappy that. And to be forward, that's going to happen. That's going to happen. And it will take time for us as a society to kind of weed out, right, which is really bad and which isn't bad. We'll have to weed that out. But there's bad public schools too, right, that don't teach and that kids don't learn anything. So I think that will also happen. It will take us some time to get out of it. But I think it will actually get out of that problem of having bad homeschooling faster, because the market will react to it, right? Will react a whole lot faster. When I drop whatever the $500, whatever it costs me to do that, whatever the number is, and then my kid doesn't learn anything, I'm gonna be like, okay, that's garbage. And I'm gonna tell my friends, that's garbage. It's a scam. Don't do it. This other one's better. So I do think there will be some pain. However, a whole lot different than a whole lot better, I should say, than our public school. I really believe that. Yes. So, yes, Jonathan, maybe I want to learn how to speak Spanish. Yeah. Hey, but at least that if the tutor doesn't teach me Spanish, then they failed and we can have a problem and we can fight back and forth and I can quit or I can sue them or whatever. Absolutely, right? Not just I'm going to be with this tutor for 4 years and whatevs. That's not okay, right? That's not okay. Absolutely. So, all right. As bad as this shitstorm is, Larry, every rose has its thorn, and COVID has presented the opportunity to educate the people on just how far government will go to stretch its authority. Also true. I wasn't covering that on this one, but you're totally right, Chris. Yes, right? Imposing unconstitutional restrictions against personal liberty and freedoms. Yes, that is another silver lining, right? We can see that at what point is too far, right? And I was going to bring some of it up tomorrow's show, but I'll bring a little bit of it now. The Supreme Court, as many of you know, shot down our Lord and Master, King Andrew Cuomo II, oh hail the king, his edicts on shutting down houses of worship. The Supreme Court said, nope, can't do that, unconstitutional, too far. Now, while I'm happy they did that, to Chris's point, I'm unhappy that the concept of shutting things down was fine. They didn't say you can't shut anything down, which is what they should have said. They said, no, this thing you can't. That's too far. That's overreach. Oh, destroying restaurants? All good. But don't destroy churches. That's too far. Now, again, I'm happy that the court said this, but it does show that, you know what? So semi-martial law is okay. That's fine. Total martial law, so we deal with what we can. So thank you for that, Chris. I appreciate that completely. Yes. My friend went to NU for a marketing degree, and she can't even use it here in New York. Oh, yes. She went to South Carolina. She doesn't use it. Yes. Look, my degree's in anthropology. There we go. So luckily I didn't pay much. I got my degree while I was in the Marine Corps. So it was nothing. It was like my whole degree cost like a couple $100. It was nothing. It wasn't that expensive at all. Maybe $1,000. I mean, it's nothing. So yes, that's definitely a problem. I currently laid off for the second time this year, and my employers just opened a new restaurant last summer and are waiting to open another one. We had a very good business going, but now we are poised to lose everything due to the shutdown and no bailout in sight. Yes. I wish there was another answer, William. I wish there was a way out of this. I think there is with the right leadership. And for those of you who don't know, on my Sharpe Way YouTube page, I literally put answers to all of this so that this wouldn't happen. And I put this up. Now it's 8 months ago, almost 9 months ago, when it first came out. March is when I put it up. So I get it, William. It breaks my heart to see the small businesses collapse. Recovery is going to be very tough. Bye local stores for things. Everything's going online. This is the one trend that I'm the saddest to see, right? What William's talking about. So many local businesses are going under, right? Everything's going online. And now even healthcare is going online. So even the drugs are going online, but there's more going online. Let me get another one. There's another one that's going online too, which covers kind of both school and also doctors. Let me cover this real fast. This is from another piece.
I had to try the device myself. It was a head-mounted device, which I put on. There was only one button called Start, so I clicked on it.
That's it.
And there it happened. A holographic image of a human body appeared in front of me.
Now, he's talking about a way of learning science, right? Learning medicine, that you don't even have to be in the school now. You can do it online, put this virtual headset on, right? Click the button Start, and begin to understand how a human body is, anatomy and biology and things of that sort, without having to be in a classroom.
I could look around it. It had a beating heart. With my finger movements, quite simply, I could just remove bones or muscles or nerves. I could dissect a human body without physical limitations and the formaldehyde smell. And I felt like this is it. I met science fiction.
And this piece doesn't just go for some medical student. This can go for any student, but more importantly, it can diagnose you. Telemedicine. Now with each person having a helmet on and going back and forth and doing this, I don't have to go to the doctor's office anymore. I mean, in theory, right? I'm talking theory. Even this is beginning to change. So I now what stops Amazon from having Amazon Hospital? Yes, that's the next thing. Amazon Hospital. So now I combine WebMD with my Amazon Pharmacy with my 3D headset. And now all of a sudden, now I'm going back and forth, and I can even do my diagnosis from home. Now, there's an advantage to this and disadvantage. The advantage is, wow, is it going to be cheaper? That's an advantage. Disadvantage is that really the future of medicine? Is that going to be anywhere near as effective? To be forward, I don't know. In theory, it might be more effective, depending upon what we have at home and those types of things. But, I mean, how do you collect samples, right? Do you mail them all? You got to show up at one point, I think, right? But maybe there's a central hub where people go to drop off samples or whatever the case may be, right? Or do biopsies and such, right? I mean, that could be the answer. It is, my point being, this is pushing a lot of change. And while I'm happy that it may be for the better, I have a secondary fear, which is it going too far too fast, right? Is it happening so fast that our culture can't respond to it well enough? That's my other issue. So let me grab a couple more if I could. Amazon becoming the new Silk Road. Well, then they got to put Bezos in jail for life then, right? If that's true. No. See, Bezos got smart. Bezos already made a deal with the government to make him the legal Silk Road. For those who don't know, Silk Road was basically like an Amazon of the dark web. And the guy, I always forget his name. The guy was literally arrested, and he was sent to prison for life. I'm not joking. For life. His crime was not Silk Road. His crime was sacrilege. Right? His crime was sacrilege. You went against the powers that be. That's why he went to jail forever. Not because what he did was bad. What he did was not bad. Not at all. So this is insane, is it? I don't know. Maybe. But I see Amazon getting bigger and bigger. And the problem is government's not going to know what to do, Paul. They're not going to know how to act. So what they're going to do is try to break up Amazon. That's what they're going to do. They're going to, because that's all they know. They know, oh, something's wrong. Hit it with a stick. Break it up. They're not going to do what they should do, which is instead make it a whole lot easier for other people to compete. That's what they should do. A blatantly simplified tax code so that Amazon can't scam on taxes, which they do, of course, because there are loopholes there. I don't blame Amazon for that. I do it too. Everyone who's in business does it too. We're out of our way to pay the least amount legally in tax. And Amazon scams on taxes legally because those are the holes put in there. Simplify the tax code so they can't scam on the taxes, right? So they pay fair share like everybody else, the same amount, whatever that is. And then set up a field to where the small business owner can have some advantages to fight against the big guys so they can grow up a natural competitor versus having to try to break up Amazon. And you can't have that, so you have to be broken up. Sadly, I think it's just going to break up. I really think it's just going to break up. Amazon, and when they break up, it'll be terribly done because government has no idea how to do that. They will do it in a terrible way that won't work. Or Bezos will be savvy enough to make a deal with the government to give them enough control, enough power to where they accept Amazon as a default or de facto government monopoly. One of those two things will happen. You're right. They will attempt any market, James. I'm not sure that's a good thing. Not sure. Correct seems though. Good news, shake it up. I like that. Yes, absolutely. Express Scripts give cheaper scripts and all home delivery. I like that. Yes, see? That's my point, right? If you already know, right, what prescriptions you have or need, and you're satisfied with your trip to your doctor, however you did that, and you now know, okay, these are the prescriptions I like and I want, or whatever the case may be, and now Amazon can do it faster and cheaper, not a bad deal, right? I'm a crack on this one. Not a bad deal, right? My only issue is I do want there to be a competitor so that you can choose Amazon or the other, right? Is there an other now? I'm not sure there is. If there is one, I don't even know it. So I really hope so. Yes. So I like local stores, but if it helps, why the gift horse in the mouth? The question is, Jonathan, is it short-term gain for long-term pain. That will be the reason, and I don't have the answer to that question, but that will be it, right? Is this short-term gain for long-term pain? Are we screwing ourselves for a short-term boost, right? My worry is we might be, because we might be handing Bezos a de facto monopoly that he will then, once he has us hooked, right? Once he has all the scripts, then he raises the prices to whatever, and we have to pay it unless we go through black market, in which case the government, he will now then use the government to make a war on prescription drugs. And now that will happen next. So that will be my worry. I don't know if that's true, but I think that is why we would do it. Yes. Currently we can buy almost any, I think you mean drug, from China and Mexico comes in mail order. Yeah, that's true. I would actually trust Amazon more than I trust those, right? I would trust them more. Oh, Bezos Care. Is that what it is? Not Obamacare or Bezos Care? Craig, I'm sure it's better than Obamacare. I'm sure it's better. Whatever it might be, I'm sure it's better. I pay per year for Prime. I forgot that. Yeah, so Paul, probably my assumption is, and I'm not sure, but Amazon loves the subscription model. It's the future for almost everything. It's been, sci-fi writers have spoken about this for literally decades. They're going to have some level, right? Eventually, the Prime Video piece is going to be a separate level too, right? If Prime Video becomes as popular as Netflix and it's on its way to doing that, becoming that popular, to being a real competitor to Netflix, they're going to have two levels, right? The regular Amazon Prime, which is delivery stuff. Then whatever that is, say it's $50. I don't know what it is, $50. Then it's going to be, say, $70 or whatever that number is to get the Prime, video on top of the other Prime stuff. And then it's going to be, $300 to get that plus the prescription on a medical thing or whatever. They're going to wind up doing levels. I don't know whether that's next year or 2 years, 3 years from now, but there will be a point to where you can get every level that you want of the Amazon Prime world, depending on how much you're prepared to pay for it, whatever you think is appropriate for you. And they're going to mix and match because some people are going to want to keep their own insurance. They're going to be happy with it, or maybe they like Medicaid and Medicare. They're going to keep those types of things. So, yes. It's a jungle out there, and Amazon runs through it. Yes, that's a good one. I like that. It's good. Let's see here. Wife is probably going to go full-time at Amazon so we can get benefits. There we go. And you'll get all the cool Prime Amazon benefits too. Drugs, videos, movies, the whole deal. I love it. You'll get it all. Yes, I love that. All right, let me see if I can grab a couple more here. I do appreciate everything, guys. Let's see. The only thing that prevented me from going to the military is my back issue. Oh, you were going to go into? I didn't know you were going to the military, Andrew. You never told me that before. Interesting. Yes. All right. Paul Corbett, I think it's $119. There we go. Whatever it is. There we go. No worries on college debt. Uncle Joe's picking up a tab. Yes, I wish it was actually Uncle Joe and not us, Pete. Right? I mean, if Uncle Joe really had that much money, he wants to. I mean, like that the guy Robert Smith who decided to pay for everybody's college debt off out of his own pocket. Well done. Well done. That's awesome. That's a wonderful way of paying off college debt from your billionaire checkbook. I love that. Let's do that. How about that, Pete? Let's do that instead. Uncle Joe was going to make us pay for that. That's the problem. But yeah, I get it. Why do you think private industry hasn't jumped into pharma sales sooner? Too many barriers, overregulation, backroom deals. What's your feeling? Yeah, I think all of those, right? You're fighting an insurance industry. The insurance industry is very powerful. And how can you fight that? Who can fight that? Amazon. Right? Not just that, Amazon can promise lots of money off the bat, right? Where if I say, I'm going to do this thing, and they're like, can you do it? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. Amazon has proven itself successful in so many times. You're going to have investors throw money at it. You're going to have people want to be involved in it. The market, the stock market is going to love it. And he can promise tons of cash, right? Because Amazon can now sell everywhere, literally everywhere. So Amazon can sell all over the globe, and there's a bunch of cash in it. I think to fight this battle, you had to already be a monster. And Amazon is already a monster. I don't think the average guy who has a good idea, even if he has money, right? I mean, say this is, me and you, David, we got $1 billion each, and we're going to start this idea. No. No, you have to already be a monster to do this. I think that's why. Any barriers or regulation that's there, Amazon lawyers just bypass them or buy them, right? There's no way that you and I would have the amount of money and influence and impact to be able to do so. So I think that's the big reason, right? They're able, the monster, they're already a monster. Yes. Let's see. I remember I paid 50 something when I was in school. Now that sounds about right. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. I mean, it really is a lot of money to pay. I came out of high school in a recession. The smart kids took one class at a time while working and saving money. The result, summer semesters and winter semesters. Maybe that's a change, Shelley. You know, I mean, maybe that's the change that comes from it. Maybe less people go to college, and that's probably not a bad thing, right? Not everybody should go to college. So maybe people go later in life. I did. I didn't go to college until I was 21. I took 3 years off in the Marine Corps and screwed around. But when I went back to college, I was ready for college. I was a terrible, terrible high school student. I did not want to be in school anymore. I didn't want to be in college. It's not what I wanted to be. If I would have gone to college, I would have done what most of my friends did. It took them 5 or 6 years to graduate college. I graduated college in 2.5. And that was because when I went, I was a disciplined Marine who wanted to go to college. And, you know, it's not rocket science. If you want something, you do it better, right? This is just humans. If you don't want to do it, Shelley, you're not going to do it very well. You want to do it? You can do it well. You can do it well, of course. So I think this kind of change may be a good thing. It may be a good thing. So competency is better than literacy. There's a level to that I would agree with and a level I don't. And the reason why I wouldn't is while you want to be competent at what you do, 100% I agree. You do want to be able to function well enough in our society and have enough literacy to not be scammed, to understand, you know, basic contracts, to understand basic agreements, to be able to read the internet, right? I mean, you do. I mean, I know lots of it's going towards video, but you want to be able to do that. And I don't have a problem with the government saying, hey, we have a standard that if you fit this standard, take this test and we give you a degree that says you can do this. You know, communication in the business world does matter. Literacy does matter. So you do want to have people understand basic vocabulary, things like that. So you do want that. You want to know what level they're at for when you're communicating with them. If you're just communicating in a more basic level, basic literacy is fine. If you're not, you might need more. So I get where you're going with that. I still feel there's a certain level of literacy that we just want our people to have. We definitely do. How tone deaf is Gavin Newsom this past weekend with him telling his people to go out and support Small Business Saturday? You know, the ones he shut down multiple times. Yeah, these guys don't care. The problem we have, and I think we saw this with our last election, and it's still to this day true. Most people are simply on a team, and that's it, right? That's it, right? We're on a team. It's like me. I'm a Yankee fan. It doesn't matter if the Yankees are doing well or doing terribly. I'm still a Yankee fan. I have been since I was a kid. I grew up outside of Yankee Stadium in the Bronx when I was a little kid. I know the 70s, the Yankees like the back of my hand. I just remember them all. So I'm going to be a Yankee fan, right? Doesn't matter who the manager is. I'm still a Yankee fan. Doesn't matter. And I think a lot of people are like, I'm team blue or I'm team red. Doesn't really matter, right? What it is. Doesn't matter. And I always hated the Boston Red Sox. If you're a Yankee fan, you know what I'm talking about. So I always hated the Boston Red Sox. It didn't matter whether they were doing good or doing bad. Boston Sox was what we always said, regardless of what they were doing. So it's a lot of that. And people are just going to be on team blue, even though Gavin's literally, not literally, but figuratively punching them in the face. Yes. We, the people who homeschool our children, had this nailed years ago. Agreed. Yes. Agreed. Yes. Absolutely. So I did trade classes at a tech school, took 3 different ones for under $5,000. Not a bad deal. This is mid to late 90s, still doing one of them. I love it. Not a bad deal at all. If that works for you, Steve, you should be doing that. Exactly. You should be doing it. My child walks around singing My Mother Told Me, an old Viking sailing song. And she has expressed an interest in Viking shield maidens. I think the government would. That's not a bad deal. I mean, that's interesting. I love that. I mean, she could deep dive into that like there's no tomorrow. I love that idea. Absolutely. So, Many parents need the free babysitter. Yes, Robert, you are correct. Many parents need the free babysitter while they're at work. Parents desire a break from their own children throughout the year as well. Remember, it takes a village to raise a child. For that reason alone, public schools aren't going anywhere. This is a very valid point, and I love you brought this up. And I just wish we'd be open about this. I think many of us aren't, and we should. When I ran for governor, I came up with other ways for cheap, safe childcare for reasons just like this, right? For reasons just like this. A lot of people in today's world, I wish it wasn't true. I wish it was. I wish it was easy for a household with two adults just have one work and the other stay at home, and that would be awesome. I think that'd be awesome. And people do it. I do it. My wife is a stay-at-home mom. So people do it. It can be done. It's just a whole lot harder, and there's also certain expectations with people, right? If you're a stay-at-home mom or dad, and you stayed home for X number of years, whatever those years are, society says, aren't you going back to work? And maybe you don't care, maybe you do, but the average person does look at their peer group, and if their peer group says, why aren't you going back to work? Many people go, oh yeah, I should go to work. Well, I can't because my baby's out. So it becomes a problem. So I think you're right. The issue is we have to have other ways, right? Where my wife was bringing this up with me earlier this week. She was saying, where's the family in this, right? We're also noticing a real breakdown in the family. To Shelley's point, right? Back in the day, when people would homeschool, one of the parents was home. Where are the family? Where's the aunt, right? It's Elizabeth Warren told the story. If you remember during the campaign, she was telling her story about being a parent and how it was hard for her, that she just couldn't handle it. And she was breaking down. And she called her aunt and said, I can't, I'm in trouble. I can't do this. And the aunt said, I'll be there tomorrow. And the aunt packed up, moved in with Elizabeth Warren, and didn't leave. Now, we don't all have that aunt, right? Luckily, she did, and good for her, right? I'm in no way, denigrating her or saying things bad about her. Good for her. She had that kind of family unit that she could do that. Awesome on her. But you tell me that we can't create that world again? We can't have that kind of community? We can't when government's always stepping in with government-run healthcare, government-run childcare, government-sponsored everything. When you add government, you by default remove community. And it used to be a place where, churches used to be a place where kids would go. There was one family member or one neighborhood person. When I was a kid, right, and this is a kid in the Bronx, right, I didn't grow up in the best neighborhood. If you know the Bronx, South Bronx in the 70s and 80s, not the greatest neighborhood, right? Just not. My mom and dad both worked, and I'd come home to another parent in the building. I lived in a large building, 6 stories high. Elevator and stairs, obviously, right? 6 stories high. I lived on the first floor of a large apartment building. And I went to one of the other parents who was a stay-at-home mom. And it wasn't just me. There were other kids. I walked home from school, and that's where I went. That was a thing that we did. Hardly ever now, right? Where's that community? Where's that family? Where's the aunt or the uncle who will come over and help? It's hard to find that because of the way our society has changed. Most people leave their families and go to cities for opportunity. The advantage to COVID, again, as bad as it has been, is a lot of people went back home. They went back home. And maybe they won't want to go back to that city anymore, and they'll want to stay someplace close. Maybe they get accustomed to being around their family again, and they'll want to support each other. And when, to Shelley's point, somebody wants to stay home to homeschool their kid, other people will send their kids there too, and maybe throw her a couple bucks. Maybe that's what's happening. I hope so. But you're on the money, Robert. I agree with you completely. And we can make that happen. I think we can. Yes. So, Larry, what are your thoughts on Rand Paul urging Georgia Libertarians to vote Republican in Senate runoff race? Maybe sound advice this time considering. Rand Paul's a Republican. Of course he would do that. It makes total sense to me. That's what he would do. The Libertarian race, by the way, those who don't know, Shane Hazel was a Libertarian race. He's the reason for the runoff. Shane Hazel, check him out. Shane Hazel is he got, I think, 3% of the vote, which means neither side could get over, right? Shane said, he has a podcast. Shane's like, come on my podcast, talk to my people. and see which one they want to vote for. Give your case on my podcast, and then people could decide. I like that idea, Ken. I think the Republican Democrat should go on Shane's show and pitch his crowd and say, here's why you should vote for me. That is what I think is the right answer. I get Rand Paul doing what he's doing. I mean, he's a Republican. That makes sense. I'm not. I'm Libertarian. So I'd want to vote for Libertarian, but there isn't one. So I have an idea. Go to Libertarian and see which one he says. How about that? Go on his show and let each side pitch Libertarian voters, and let the Libertarian voters choose what the right answer is. That will be my answer. That will be my answer. Government fatigue is real. Yes, COVID fatigue is real. Government fatigue is real. Lockdown fatigue is real. Absolutely, it is. 100% it is. Absolutely. I think there absolutely is fatigue on everything. We just kind of want to get back to some form of normalcy, whatever that might be, right? So what happens with Cuomo since the Supreme Court made a verdict? Will he get sued by the federal government? I doubt it. I doubt they'll touch him. I think he just won't do that again. He'll just move on. That's his whole plan. It's like, well, it's just a political thing. I think he'll move on and act like it never happened. That's what he's been doing so far, right? That's so far what he's been doing. So we'll see. So, frustrating that he's only taking questions from Facebook. Who said that? I didn't say that. I'm taking him as I can grab them, Mr. Doc Dre. Or Dry. Is it Doc Dry? No, absolutely. So yes, lots of people delete their account. I get it. That's why I do Twitter and Facebook and YouTube as they pop up. The problem is I get so many of them and they flood. I have lots of them, dozens of them. I can't get to them all. I sometimes miss them, and most of them come from Facebook. So just to be clear, there's only one, and then there's like 7 Facebooks. Then there's one Twitter. There's like 9 Facebooks. Then there's one YouTube. So it isn't you, brother. It isn't you. It's just I grab what I can grab when I can grab it. I sometimes miss them. I will be getting an engineer coming up here soon, but I have to pay the engineers, so I have to make some more cash so that I can pay the engineer, so I can have an engineer who can go through it better for me and do a better job of it. So I appreciate that. Yes. I bought a cup of lemonade from a kid's lemonade stand the other day. Joe, well done. I love that. That's small businesses right there. Absolutely. Yes. Food delivery jobs are popular now. Good bridge job till government removes the boot of tyranny from people's throat of freedom. Yeah, food delivery, Uber is still good right now, depending on where you're going with that can still be good. Yeah, absolutely. There are different jobs you can do. But to be forward, I want all of us to start thinking a different way. And that is, well, a job is good. Please get a job if you need one. Absolutely. Get a job. And there's an and here. Think about how you can build ownership into your life, whether that's purchasing property, purchasing your own company, having some control over your destiny in life. Jobs are great if you need them. Please get them. I'm absolutely not against having a job. Please. All I'm saying is if you think the only answer is a job, you're prepared to be destroyed by government whenever the government destroys your job, right? So you want to have a job, and you want to start thinking, how can I also own something of either intellectual property, actual property, relationships with people, something to where I can always be able to have ownership, make money, sell and or rent that stuff to make some kind of money. So I think both, as you said, a bridge job. I love that. But also for you to change how you think. And I don't mean you, Joe. I mean you as in people to change how they think about their futures. Let's see here. All right. Hold on. Doc Dry's upset. What did I miss from you, brother? I missed something from you? I'm trying to go back now. There we go. Okay. I went back to look to keep you happy. Why are you libertarian and not an ANCAP? Do you think we should have a 100% voluntary tax system? It's a great question. I'll talk about Libertarian Party and then Libertarian how I feel, and then the idea of a voluntary tax system. I'll cover all 3 of them if I can. I'm a Libertarian because I believe the party is the best opportunity and best chance for real change in America. There is no question. The party is a disaster on many levels. I've called it publicly a dumpster fire on wheels. The issue is without it, I'm walking. So that's what I got. So I use the party to the best of my ability because I believe it's the best way to change. That's what I believe. And people disagree with me. Maybe you do. People disagree with me. But that's what I believe. That's why I'm a big L libertarian. That's why I am. An ANCAP. I don't think I am an ANCAP. In my heart, I want a full voluntary system. I just realized we are nowhere near that. This country is nowhere near ANCAP, nowhere near anarchy, nowhere near voluntary tax. You might as well say, Larry, can you jump to Mars right now? The odds of me being able to jump to Mars right now and us have a 100% voluntary tax system are exactly the same. The odds are exactly the same. We are nowhere near that. The vast majority of Americans not only think that taxation is the only way to a society, the majority of them think they're taxed just right. Some think they aren't taxed enough. And you want 100% voluntary tax system? I love the idea. I do. I love the idea. But I'm not about theory, if it makes any sense. I've taken the mantle of someone who wants to actually create change and move towards that system. And I'm all about moving towards that system. In my perfect world, in my unicorns, leprechaun world, we are a fully voluntary system, a fully voluntary world. That'd be amazing. We're just nowhere near that. And I know a lot of people tell me, Larry, it's not true. We got to be principled. I'm principled. We ought to be principled. Remember something. The average American doesn't even know that the Fed is a private bank. They think it's part of the government. The average American can't imagine that. The average American can't conceive of anything other than taxation. When I brought up my idea of leasing out naming rights to bridges so that we could pay for infrastructure without taxes, that which to many libertarians isn't far enough. I'm with you. That blew the minds of the average American. Blew the minds. So while I get where you're going with it, I'm with you. Let's turn our direction. The country's nowhere near this. I mean, think about it. 80 million people voted for Biden. 80 million. We're nowhere near this. And even though Trump tried to cut taxes, he was nowhere near a voluntary tax system, and 70-some million people voted for him. So about 160 million Americans voted for someone who was nowhere near thinking about a voluntary tax system. It's nowhere that we're nowhere near there. So I hope I answered your questions on why I'm libertarian and how I feel about that. I love the ideas. I'm with you on all of them. I see what country I live in. I see what state I live in. I see what city I live in. Nowhere near. There's actually, if you do any polling or surveys, even in the last 10 years, you will find there's a chunk of Americans, and it's not like 2%, it's more like 10% or more who believe they're not taxed enough. That's the country we live in, where a chunk of our population says, oh no, tax me more. So anyway, I hope that answers your question. I wasn't trying to dodge. I had to go back and find it because I just have so many of them. I didn't want you to think that I was trying to ignore you. So speaking of science fiction, AOC is looking for a science fiction movie. That's funny. Yes, that's good. Healthcare burnout's real. Yes, absolutely. Yes, 100%. Yes. Wouldn't you need to be physically at a doctor's office for most medical procedures? One would assume yes. However, there is an exception now, Paul, right? With the machines and the computers that do a lot of the surgeries and such and inspections, you could probably go to one central hub facility and get many different doctors to be able to check you out, right? Or do the procedure, or the case may be, through some form of machine or robot or something like that. That you probably could do that in the future. That's happening now in certain cases. You are finding robot surgeons already now. I think you'll find more of that, where the robots will do things. That doctor will be, whatever, on the beach in Florida or something, and you'll be in New York or wherever you are, and you'll be getting that procedure that way. But I don't think the in-person will go away. I think it just won't be as prevalent as it is now. That's what I think will happen. And for those things where you have to be present, there'll be some form of hub, right? A centralized hub where people go for that thing, whatever that thing is. Maybe multiple hubs, whatever it might be. So, to be forward, it will be less effective. I had better healthcare when doctors made house calls. Well, you know what? The funny thing is, Shelley, if this goes that way to where healthcare becomes a lot cheaper, we actually open up the idea of bringing back house calls. I don't know if you know this, but in New York State, I don't know if it's true throughout the country, but in New York State, if you work in a hospital, if you're a hospitalist, it's against the New York State regulations for you to do a house call. You can't do a house call. You can't. They won't allow you to. Everything must go through the hospital. Period. No house calls at all. But if you open up this to be a different type of system, as I've talked about this in the past, if you have a system to where it is some form of basically subscription model where you're paying X dollars per month into a hospital or doctor group, well, they can have doctors who do house calls, right? Or you could have the higher tier, right, or whatever. Again, everyone else pays $100 a month, you pay $110, you get the house call available, that kind of thing. But something else, if the vast majority of Americans start going the Amazon route, there will literally be a niche for people who do house calls. There'll be a niche for that. So you can actually make that happen too. So yes. Amazon hospitals scan naked pictures of your body from under your clothes. Oh, wait, that was TSA. Yes, bingo. Already there, Jonathan. Already there. Yes, absolutely. So, thank you, Ross Ulbrich. Yes, lifetimes 2 + 40. Yes, because how dare you cut the government out? Yes, how dare you? Absolutely. Small businesses like mine are trying to evolve fast, but I fear someday that'll outpace us. We change a business strategy in a dime, basically. You have to, right? There's the advantage to the small business. It can change, but when the government keeps smacking it, it's playing whack-a-mole. And then there's multiple levels of rules so that each level can hammer you. You guys may not know this, but the state will come up with a set of guidelines. If you break those guidelines, the state fines you. So the state agents come in, see you haven't done something, and they fine you, take money. Well, the county sees that and goes, wait a minute, you're coming in and you're robbing my people? You can't rob my people. I rob my people, not you. So then the county comes up with its own rules so that you have to break those rules, and the county agents can come in and they can steal your money. And there's a city in there. The city goes, what? You're going to steal money from my people? I do that. Then the city or town creates its own rules, and then those agents come by. And the best part is they will actually have different regulations, different rules. So you actually can't do all three because you'd be breaking one or the other. So you simply choose who's going to rob you. All right, I guess I'll get robbed by the town. So I'll just follow the state and the county rules, which will break the town rules. I'll get robbed by the town. Sadly, that actually happens all the time. That's why there are multiple levels of rules, because everybody wants their cut, right? If the state simply has rules, people say, well, I want state rules. Yeah, but the county doesn't get that money when they're robbing you. So we got to make sure that each group can rob you effectively. That's the goal. Excuse me. Yes. Let's see if I can keep going here. I see Amazon delivery drivers everywhere. I do too. And I do too. I see them everywhere. Amazon delivery drivers are everywhere. How fast they are. People are driving everywhere to drop things off. Every single place. It's crazy how this has happened. Absolutely. So I personally try to use Amazon unless absolutely necessary. I got to tell you, Shannon, I used to think that way. I did. And then they just kind of won. They just were the best out there for me to use. I could get what I wanted fast without having to go shopping, and I hate shopping. So I could do that. So yeah, and I don't do most shopping in my house. My wife does more of the shopping in the house than I do. But we have an Amazon Prime account. I know, I do. I still don't go to Walmart, at least. Do I get some points for that? I'm not sure. But yeah, so I don't go to Walmart though. So there's something. But I mean, there are nothing but America's filled with large evil empires. I guess I have to pick which empire. Like I got to pick which agency robs me. I got to pick which empire I bow to. I guess I bow to the Amazon empire, I guess. Yep. The government ain't going to touch Amazon. Most government info is run or stored on Amazon Web Service. That was my other piece, Craig. They make a deal with Amazon that makes Amazon a de facto or default monopoly. Yes. I think that could happen. Absolutely. Yes. Oh my God, I help make them rich. I love Amazon. I know, Michelle. See, I'm with you. I know. It's crazy. Yes, absolutely. It's crazy. So, Monopoly wouldn't be bad if prices are so non-competitively low. If it goes above market, a new company will rise, right? In theory, that's my worry. They will create barriers that nothing else can grow, right? That's the thing. I want to make sure the barriers are down so that the competitor has a chance at growth. If the competitors fail with a fair chance at growth, then they fail. Amazon moves fast enough and fixes itself and all good. But if Amazon doesn't grow fast enough, boom, a competitor can beat them. And that's what I want to be able to do, right? That's what I want to make happen. Because, it's the same with the Facebooks and the whatever are the monopolies of the world. We want to try to make as few of them as possible, but we don't want to physically break them up if at all possible. We want to try to create an environment to where the little guy has a chance at knocking them down. That's really the answer. So that's my goal. And I hope we can do that better and better. So, all right. I'll take Amazon medical insurance as part of my Prime membership. I think that probably could happen. I do think that will happen. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Oh, that's for Andrew. Sorry, not for me. Let's see. I'm glad you guys are going back and forth. I love it. The only industry Amazon can't take on is probably firearms. Why not? Depends upon, because it's you mean politically? Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. Politically. Got you. You didn't mean physically. I mean, shipping a gun is the same as shipping something else, right? So, but I see your point. So you're saying, yeah, I think you're probably right. I think it's probably, Amazon wouldn't take it on unless it was politically correct enough to take on. They wouldn't sacrifice that at all, right? They would try to do that if they could, right? So I think that's it. Yeah. They would have to believe that it's not gonna make their customer base angry enough that they'll walk away. I think that's what it would be. Yeah. All right. I went to massage school when I was 50. I brought this up, Christine. We should be going to any college, school, whatever it is, whenever we want to learn something new, not just because we're 19. That's not the reason, right, to go to college. It should be because you want to learn something, right, whatever that is. Massage therapy, whatever it is. And that should be when you're 19, 29, 39, 49, 59, 69, whenever that is. It shouldn't matter, right? It should not matter. I went to college later. I was still young. I was 21 when I went to college. But people go at all times, right? People go to college, and they should be able to, and it should be the norm, and that's what college should be about, which means if college is just giving you a sheet of paper, then why would you go at $39.49 unless employers value that sheet of paper? And that's the issue. Does the market value that sheet of paper? Look, I want to quickly talk about something else, and just quickly if I could. Holidays. Turkey Day was last week. I hope you all had a great Turkey Day. I know some people had the big 12-person evil get-togethers, and now the world's going to end, I'm sure. But my point is, I hope you had some good conversations. I hope you were able to chat about important issues. I hope you were able to. There weren't too many fights over whether Biden is evil or Trump is evil. I hope you never too many of those. Hope you had some good conversations. If you didn't, and you want a way to have better conversations, listen to this. Hey, Larry Sharpe, host of the Sharpe Way, and I know what you're thinking. Election's over. Holiday season is here. I've got to have conversations with family and friends after this. I know it can be tough. How do you restart that? How do you reconnect? It's all about respect, guys. It's about mutual respect, human respect, respect for our family and friends. Well, how do you rebuild that? How do you make that happen now? You find some common ground. How do you do that? You head on over to theadvocates.org, take the world's smallest political quiz. It's 1 minute, just 1 minute. You take that 1 minute, all of a sudden now you now share that, send it to your friends. You start talking about things that matter to you, not about people you love, not about people you hate, but instead about issues that matter to you. Bring that back, have that common ground, find that mutual respect, find that human respect. Take this test and share it, theadvocates.org. That guy's smart. You should listen to him. Absolutely. So, look, I'm staying on these two pieces, education and healthcare. Now, Shelley brings up Amazon College Online. Why not? They got healthcare. They got this. They got videos. Why can't they do college online? The online colleges are killing it. They're all over the place, right? Because all colleges becoming online. Absolutely. Yes. 100%. I don't see why it wouldn't be that, right? An Amazon degree. Sure. Why wouldn't people go, and they could, if anyone could find a way of delivering that, it would be an Amazon company or a company like that. Absolutely. I just went back to college at 31 since high school because I realized it's beneficial towards financial success. I love that. You go back to college when you want to go to college. Absolutely. Speaking of telemedicine, my brother had to give up his license for using this 15 years before anybody else. Not that he did anything wrong, because it was cheaper than defending himself in front of the licensing board. Yes. Licensing boards. Yes. Already. Again, this is my entire piece, Brian. I bring this up all the time. Licensing versus credentialing. Have a credential. If you don't follow the rules of that board, you don't get the stamp. If you don't trust that doctor, don't get it. That's the origin, basically, of physician assistants. It was, well, you can't get this level, but you get that level. Lots of people go to PAs and love it and have no problem whatsoever. A lot of them go to nurse practitioners and love it, no problem whatsoever. It's up to you. That's why they don't call it go to your doctor anymore. They say go to your healthcare professional, because the licensing board wasn't worth it back then. Is it worth it now? Never has been. Go to the person that you trust with the right knowledge and the right credentials that you care about, whatever that is. You control your body, your life, and your healthcare. And if you would rather go to a nurse practitioner, a holistic practitioner, a physician's assistant, whatever, go to the person that you think is right for your health. And if that's someone who does telemedicine, good on you. Good on you. Absolutely. 100%. You should have to pass a civics test before getting a government job. That's not a bad idea. I mean, the amount of people who don't know there are 3 branches of government shocks me every single time that I hear the stats and I see it. I've asked people, 3 branches of government. They go, they don't know. They can't tell me. I think like mayor, governor, president. Yeah, almost. But yes, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. I'm a Jags fan. 1 in 10, baby. Joe, I know, right? We become fans. It's the team that we get on, right? And that's the one we want to stay on. Yes. Andrew, I'm a Yankees and Boston Red Sox fan. No, you aren't. You can't be that. I have deemed it so. You can't be both. That's impossible. Andrew, you can't be both. That's impossible. Impossible. Cannot be true. You've just blown my mind. No, that does not exist. Larry Sharpe, Yankees fan. I am. It's true. I am a Yankees fan. Yes, absolutely. The fear I have is that the low prices disappear when the monopoly finally asserts itself as real monopoly and choice is gone. That's my worry, right? The idea that Jonathan was talking about looking a gift horse in the mouth. That was my worry. Are we doing, short-term gain for long-term pain? Right? Are we going, okay, now it's cheap. Oh, now there's nothing else? You'll pay what we tell you to pay. Because, right? That's it. I've been paying taxes for a whole lot of years. It's a price you pay for freedom, nice roads, nice schools, a family member. Yes. This goes back to my point about with Mr. Dark Dry. Is that right? Yeah. I mean, this is what people believe, right? That's the issue. And what I would say to people, and people asking that question, I say, I'm glad we have those things. I agree. And then what I say is, and when the schools don't work or the roads don't work, what's our recourse? That's what I ask. And they go, well, then we fix them. Have we done that in 50 years? Well, we have to. I said, we don't really have any, do we? But wouldn't it be better if we actually had recourse? What if we had a different way of paying for schools and roads? Because I like nice roads and nice schools too. I do. What if we had a different way of paying for it so that we have recourse? That if it's a bad school, we can fix it, make a nice school. If it's a bad road, we can fix it, have a nice road. That's how I had that conversation, right? I talk in that way. Obviously, Luke, you know your family members better than I do, so you would speak in a way that makes sense for you, but in a way to say, I agree, I want nice roads and nice schools. I think most people do. The question is, when they're not nice, what's our recourse? Wouldn't it be a better way if we had a better way of paying for them so we'd actually have recourse? So we'd have nicer roads and nicer schools. How about finding a better way of paying for it so that the people who use it pay for it versus the people who don't use it don't have to really pay for it? How about that? So I think any of those ways is a good way of having those conversations. So, free babysitter. Yes, that's a good point. I like that. And we do have to stop saying that. We do, don't we? Right? It's something that we have to figure out. It is definitely, we have to stop saying taxpayer funded. It just frees fast, right? But you're right. Taxpayer funded babysitter. That's actually more accurate. Taxpayer funded babysitter. Yes. Stay-at-home parents aren't common anymore. Agreed. Many aren't. Agreed. And not that I'm against it either way. I mean, what I don't want is parents deciding they have to go to work to provide what they believe is the right environment for their children. I want them to choose to go to work because they believe that that's what it takes to have the right environment for their children. Not feel they have to. That's my only issue, right? If parents think, no, the right way is for us to both go to work. Okay, do that. Your kid, raise your child as you see fit. I hate when parents feel like, what am I going to do? I have to work. I don't want to work. I remember my wife, when we had our first child, she was going back to work and she hated it. She hated it. She did not want to go back to work. And she went back to work for a couple of days, a couple of weeks. She was like, I can't leave my kid. And she came back home. She just couldn't do it. And I said, all right, I'll take the burden. I'll figure some stuff out. And we had to figure some stuff out. We were assuming that she would work. Both my parents worked almost my entire time as a kid. So I think people want to do it. I want people to do it because they feel it's the right thing, not because they feel trapped. That's my concern. Trapped is the problem. The village should be the immediate family, nothing more. I don't agree with that, Jonathan. I think that people should choose that. I really do. I think that people should decide what their village is. I think people can make the village the immediate family, literally mom and dad, and that's it. The village can make it extended to grandparents or not, or the entire area. I think people should choose what they think is right for their own, with their own families in any way they think is appropriate. A lot of people want it. When I was a kid, and I'd say my own kid, our building had its own, like, almost like neighborhood. It's where we'd go up and down the stairs trick-or-treating in the building, right? The building kind of had its own neighborhood in a way. Those of you who lived in cities may know what I'm talking about. It was kind of our neighborhood. So that kind of became, like, I knew almost everyone who lived in my building. They knew who I was. I mean, this is also the 70s. So it's obviously 50 years ago. Oh, 40 years ago, 50 years ago now. Yes. So a little bit different, obviously, but that's how we grew up. That was kind of our village, if that made any sense. We had friends in other buildings. We had friends in other areas. During the summer, I would spend time with family friends. I'd spend 2 months with them. Their kids spend 2 months with me, back and forth. I think we should choose what we think is right for that family. That's what I think. So I now admit your governor's worse than mine. See, sorry, I doubted you. I told you we have a terrible governor. I told you that. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. See if I can grab this real fast. All right. Most working parents aren't trained or prepared to homeschool, let alone do what public school expects us to do when hybrid or for remote. Grandparents are in high-risk bubbles and can't help. Valid point, Ryan. You're totally right. Absolutely valid point. And this is the thing I've been bringing up for a long time, why some people get so upset when they say, Larry, why don't you just abolish things and get rid of things? You're a libertarian, get rid of everything, burn it all down, get rid of it all. I'm not that way for this important reason. There are a lot of communities in our country who no longer know how to support themselves when government isn't there. They don't know how to support the community. There's not a community environment there to do the job. They haven't done it. They have, as a culture, forgotten how to support themselves because government has done it for so long. If you go back 50 years, you've got a community full of teachers. I mean, I'm going to go back just 40 years my own self. I learned how to play chess because across the street from me was a park. And if those of you who don't know, the South Bronx many years ago, 40s and 50s, used to be a very Jewish community. back in the day, back in the 40s and 50s. It was a Jewish community. So when I was there in the 70s, there were still older Jews who still lived there. They lived in they were, many of them retired. They lived in the buildings. Well, during the day, they'd go across the street and they'd play chess in the park. I learned how to play chess 4, 5, 6 years old, whatever I was. Yes, my parents let me play in the park at 6 or 7 years old. I know it sounds crazy in today's world, but I would go into the park across the street and play in the park. And there were men who were playing chess then. I sit there and they taught me how to play chess. Right? I learned to play chess well from the old Jewish men in the park. So that community knew how to support itself. I'm not sure that exists today in many communities. Some do, but in many communities, they struggle. We have to create environments, as I talked about, easier ways of creating actual low cost or real free, not taxpayer funded, but actual free healthcare within our communities so that people can do that and are ready for that, right? If we have the right environment, there are a lot of teachers who would quit teaching in public school and would teach in their local communities if the environment was correct. We don't have that. This goes back to my other issue, why I'm not just tearing it all down. I don't think we're ready for it. There has to be a shift to where the communities are prepared to help. People need help. People need services. People need things. They need it. And if government is not going to be there, community has to be there to step up and to service and help people. In many communities, that doesn't exist. So it's a valid point, Ryan. I agree. So Elizabeth Warren, AK Sour Cream Indian. That's good. Buy local, support your Queens Mets. Boo, Roy, boo. It's okay. I'll still buy local anyway. Yes, absolutely. So we had 3 swing sets, a lot of bicycles and such, because my mother was a stay-at-home mom and we needed a place to send their kids. Exactly. Basically free healthcare. And that's free childcare, right? And that's what happened. But in my world, when I was a kid, the woman did it for free. It was cheap. It was dirt cheap. And in fact, there were 2 different women who did it in my room. They were both stay-at-home moms at the time. This is 73, 74, maybe in that area. And 2 different women did it. And one of them on the second floor, one of them on the first floor, something like that. And it was very cheap. And you had to give them food. Literally, you would make big food every week, and you'd give them a bunch of food. So they all had a bunch of food in the fridge for the kids that would come over. So that was kind of your payment. It was a couple of bucks. And then a big thing of food that you made, whatever it was. That's how we paid for them back then. So, yes. Yeah. So, all right. Let's see here. Shane Hayes was on LPT the other day. He did good. Check it out. Yeah, Shane Hayes was good. He was on my show also. He was on Libertarians Drinking Coffee Live, if you want to see him there also. Yes. Hey, Mr. Larry, when are you going to get a phone so we can call in? January. I'm going to be taking that so we can do a call-in show starting hopefully in January. So we are beginning that soon. That was how the show began as a call-in show. We'll be shifting. Absolutely. Yes. Avi, Larry, I saw your interview with Austin Peterson. Oh, good. That was last week. Given many Republicans are disillusioned with the GOP establishment, not siding with Trump in this election fraud, they may rebel and start Tea Party 2.0. I do think many will. Austin is very serious about Tea Party 2.0. I do think people will go. I think it will get some legs. My question is, how long will it last? I don't know, right? There's a part of me that says, oh, it's going to be exciting up front, and then we'll kind of peter out. Whereas there's a part of me that goes, no, this could be an actual, it could be an actual wing of the Republican Party. I think it's possible. Do you think it makes sense for libertarians to unite with them and Tea Party to get a libertarian foothold in mainstream parties that have always been on the outside? It's a great question, Avi. And as a general rule, I think we don't want to do that as a general rule, because I do think third parties, if one actually gets started, I think it absolutely will allow us to have some real impact in the race. Shane Hazel is example of that, right? We actually forced a runoff, right? And that's a good thing. I know people get upset about it, but it's a good thing to have a runoff. It's not a bad idea. It means those people, if they want to win this thing, have to move towards libertarianism, or they got to spend tons more money convincing their guys to get out and vote, right? I'd rather something have to move towards the Libertarian Party, right, to get those 2% of the vote. That's not a bad thing, right? That's a good thing. Even if they don't actually become it, they have to say it and talk about it and be more libertarian. That's not a bad thing. My worry is the Tea Party kind of got absorbed by the Republican Party. It doesn't really exist anymore as an actual thing. The Liberty Caucus, I mean, the guy who started it literally left it, right? I mean, Justin Amash left it. He started it and he left. So that didn't work either. So I'm not sure it will work. Now, am I against teaming up with them? Not at all. Not at all. I mean, I think I've been very clear about this. If there's a way that we can team up with them on specific issues or ideas or even candidates, I'm not against that at all. But I just don't think we want to take the Libertarian Party and make it like the Tea Party 2.0. I think that's doomed to failure because then we become beholden to the mainstream parties. Can we at times agree with them? Sure. Can we even share share candidates? Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. The issue is I do think the Libertarian Party still needs to exist and as a separate entity and grow and be stronger. Because if it doesn't, we just wind up getting absorbed either way. And that becomes short-term gain, right? Oh, we got a couple of things done as Tea Party 2.0. Great. And then we're absorbed and we're back into the two-party system. So that's my opinion on that. So de Blasio wants checkpoint Cuomo's on the Tappan Zee Bridge and the bridges to check on people. Yeah, because he cares. Yeah, terrible. Austin Peterson's a controversial figure with LP members, so I don't see it happening. I think there still is a group of people within the LP who are still Austin Peterson fans. I don't think his fan base has totally walked away from the LP at all. I think most LP members are leery of him. I think that's true, and he is controversial, absolutely. But there are a chunk of people in the Libertarian Party who totally support Austin. So people might go off, but the party itself, I think you're right. The party is not going to meld with the 2.0. So, but Larry, I'm scared to take a risk and lose everything trying to navigate around government hurdles to entrepreneurship opportunities. Sadly, many people, that's actually true, Joe. You're right. And a lot of people don't want to become entrepreneurial. And that's actually okay. I don't think you have to become an entrepreneur to become successful in America or to even grow your life in America. I think you have to have more of an entrepreneurial mindset. That I think you have to have if you want to be successful in America. It doesn't mean you have to be an entrepreneur, but even for your job, think of it more like this is my job. I own it. I'm going to do things the right way to make things work. Think more of this job is a way of keeping my client happy so that I can move to the next job, which is a better job. So I think even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, not required. By the way, I love entrepreneurs. I'm one. I hope everybody becomes one, but it's not for everybody and not required. I do believe that mindset is required. If you don't have that mindset, you are preparing yourself for the eventual crash to be just taken out. You still might get taken out anyway. I mean, sometimes the government is so harsh, it doesn't matter. It takes everybody out, even entrepreneurs. But I think you do want to have that mindset for growth to get back up. And even when the government smacks you, to get back up and keep going. So I hope that was clear on that, Joe. I don't know if I was or not. I didn't necessarily mean you had to be an entrepreneur. That's fine. But I think you do want to have more of an entrepreneurial mindset. So, can you collect all questions and go back after the show and review? Might be a fun show. AMA, what Larry missed yesterday. That's not a bad idea. Maybe I could do that another day. Possible? Sure. Larry, do you think now is time for the LP to get affiliates set up in U.S. territories like Puerto Rico, Guam, etc.? Yes, absolutely. Look, if the Democrats have their way, and they might, they're going to want to add more states, right? They're going to want to add more blue senators. And I get it. If I was a Democrat, I think the same way. It makes total sense for them. So they would love to have, D.C., Puerto Rico. Their assumption would be 4 more Democratic senators. So I think, yes, absolutely. Yes. So let's see if I can keep going here. Can't live in fear, mate, or you won't accomplish your full potential. Very true. Absolutely. Yes. ANCAP and limited government produces similar results, which is limiting power or even dividing power. I hope so, right? I mean, limited government does tend to limit power by default and also divides up power so that one person or one entity can't take up too much. Absolutely. Yes, I completely agree. Yes. So let's see if I can keep going here. We live in a world where surgery is performed by the screw around in your guts 2000. Jonathan, there's some truth to that. The robot arms are still a bit experimental. That's true. They are. There's some of that. There is. But some of it's really good, though, right? If you look at most of the gastric bypass surgeries, most of them are done by a machine, right? Not actually robot, but by a machine that connects like that, right? So a lot of it is done that way. So I think a lot of that, it's kind of true, but it's getting better. Larry, as much as I support Libertarian Party, our PR is terrible. Agreed. We need more articulate voices like you, Maj Toure, and Kibbe to be the main spokesman for the party. How about a Sharpe Kibbe Maj ticket? I love the idea. We have work to do. I think I've told many of you. I started this in 2016, being active political like this. I was active in the party since 2012, but I got active in 2016. And I have what I call the 7 to 10 year plan. Because of COVID, it's a 10-year plan. So I'm only 4 years in. We've got 6 years left for us to make real impact to where we're real players in this country. And I'm still on the crusade. I'm not done. What you're saying is true. We have problems. It's true. But I don't see another way. I don't see another vehicle to take us where I want us to go. If I saw the vehicle, I'd jump on. I don't see the vehicle. I don't believe Tea Party 2.0 is that vehicle. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll jump on board. Right? If I'm wrong, I'll jump on board. I'll call Austin up. Hey, you know the guy? I'm on. Right? I'll jump on board if I think it's the right answer. So far, it's still new. Who knows? It looks still to me like the Libertarian Party is the absolute best, as broken as it is. And it is broken. What you're saying is correct. I just don't see a better route, and I don't want to give up. I'm taking the best, way I can. The best one I can. One man's utopia is the men's Stalingrad. I've never heard that one. That's an interesting one. Okay. Stalingrad, by the way, doesn't exist anymore. It is now Volgograd, I think. It no longer exists. Yes. Larry, I wrote my undergrad thesis on telehealth. I was on this way before COVID. And that's my point. I think a lot of this kind of exacerbated or showed what was happening anyway, but we were kind of trying to ignore and trying to keep the old way. Now it's just kind of exploding, right? It's just exploding. I don't think there's a way that we can get around it without it making some massive changes. I just don't see it. They're going to be massive changes. 2 plus 2 is not 4 with Common Core. It's Tadia. Jason, I wish you were wrong. You are so right. Common Core is a disaster. Those who don't know it. Literally, there are things like you get the answer right and it's wrong because it isn't the way they told you that it has to be. They will tell you to estimate when you don't need to estimate. So you can give them the right answer. It's wrong. They didn't ask for the right answer. They asked for the estimate. Not just that, you can get the right answer the wrong way. Therefore, it's wrong. That's common. Absolutely common. You're right. Common Core is a disaster. I'm embarrassed how bad it is. Yes, it's terrible. All right. Let me grab a couple more if I can. I'm using private companies over Amazon, but I pay more for shipping and handling. Yeah, I have done some of that before, Christine. I have done some of that. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Common Core math teaches techniques I use to help solve math problems. The issue is not the proper way to solve that said problem. The problem, though, Paul, is Common Core works very well and makes a lot of sense for adults. Once you understand the basics of mathematics, Common Core is actually very easy to deal with and understand if you're in that world. But when you're a kid learning, that's not how kids learn. Let me be clear. There is a small percentage of kids, it's a very small percentage, that actually learn better on Common Core. Depends on how you think, where your head is. Some kids do learn better on Common Core, but it's a very small percentage. And anyone in education who's doing this, hope you'll back me up on this. This is actually true. I've done my homework on this one. It's a small percentage that actually do learn better on Common Core. Vast majority of kids do not. So why isn't Common Core an option for teachers versus a requirement for teachers? Allowing teachers to use whichever one's going to work best for your kid, right? If your kid's one of the kids who learns better on Common Core, use Common Core. If your kid doesn't, use what we've been using for 3,000 years or however long we've been doing math. But however long, I don't know how long we're doing math. Whatever the amount of time is. So I do think that I don't want to get rid of Common Core, right? I'm not get rid of Common Core. I'm, as always, get rid of the mandate. Let teachers teach. Let them use the tools that will assist your kid the best in learning. And if that's Common Core, good on you. Use that. I'm against the mandate. That's in almost everything I do. I'm against the mandate. I don't want, if you like Common Core, do it. Absolutely. Yes. So thank you for that, by the way. All right. See if I can do this. With Walmart pickup service, I'm the one doing the receipt checks on what they're putting in my car. That's actually funny. That's actually, it's the opposite. I like that. That's good. I love that. So, all right. Larry, I pitched your bridge leasing idea to my parents and they thought it was insane and not practical. Thank you. This is my point earlier. What other answer but taxation? There's no other possible answer. Anything else is not going to work. Can't work. No way. Impossible. That's the only way you can do it. Taxation. Your parents are normal. They're like most Americans think that way, right? The idea of leasing out naming rights to a bridge, even though we've been leasing naming rights to stadiums for decades, for most Americans, whoa, oh my God, blows their minds, or they don't even believe it could work. Or I get all the, can't work because of this, can't work because of that, all the time. In reality, it can work, but I get what you're saying. Most people think it's crazy. Yes. So, all right. I took building trades at BOCES in case I had to fix anything in my house at the age of 18. See, Andrew, I love the idea. For those of you who don't know, BOCES in New York State is basically like our trade school, high school. It's like that. It's not called BOCES in every part of New York State, but in many parts of New York State, it's called BOCES. They have another name in other parts. I've forgotten the name right now. But most high school guidance counselors will tell you, don't go to BOCES. They'll say things like, I'm not joking, if you're a New Yorker, you know this, oh, you're better than BOCES. BOCES for the bad kids. Don't go there. You want to go to this school and go to college, blah, blah. Why would they say that? Because the schools are judged by their placement in college for federal funds. It goes back to the money, not about whether the kid should or shouldn't go to BOCES. You know who should go to BOCES? Whoever wants to go to BOCES. That's who should go. Period. Doesn't matter what the guidance counselor thinks, or the federal funds coming in, or whether college is the right answer because the federal government decides it is. No, it's because you decide it is. If you hate trades, don't go to trade school. If you like trades, go to trade school. Same idea as always. It's crazy. Yes. All right. I keep going. All right. Yes, the advocates got org. I appreciate that, guys. I really do. Absolutely. Jeff Bezos essentially said he wants to own the infrastructure for everything you do. He's almost there, Craig. He's almost there. Essentially, he wants to create the railroads of today: entertainment, food, health, security, and space travel. Amazon owns or is developing all these things. It makes total sense, right? Once he can get it to you, does it really matter what he has to get to you, right? That's it. Absolutely. Excuse me. All right. So far, the streaming services, so they're okay in the department. Yeah, Amazon streaming is not bad. It has some good stuff, some original stuff. It's got some good stuff on it, right? But Netflix, when it started, was okay, and then it became like the thing. Like now we talk about Netflix and chill. It's become the thing. So I think it can become as good. The advantage I like to that world, the streaming world, is there really is some competition right now, which is better. It isn't perfect competition, of course, but I'll take what I can get in competition, right? Netflix isn't the only game in town. It's the biggest and the baddest without doubt. Of course it is. But there are others who are catching up. But this goes to my other point. Why didn't other players take on the pharmaceutical industry? Why Amazon? Because you had to be a giant to do that. Amazon is a giant. It can take on Netflix. Disney is a giant. It can take on Netflix. So are we actually having small guys move up? No, which is why I'm saying it's not perfect competition. But at least there's some. It's giant fighting giant, right? It's like Godzilla versus King Kong, right? It's giant versus giant. I'll take it. I would rather have little guy coming up too, right? But if I just got to take three big giants fighting, I'll take it for now. Let's see if we can fix it to where we can change. We can change that. What a libertarian viewpoint on COVID-19 vaccines. That's a broad point. I will tell you what mine is, and mine is always the same. If you want the vaccine, please get the vaccine. The only thing I'm against is the mandate. That's it. I'm against the mandate. If you trust the vaccine, take it. If you want the vaccine, please take it. I think the way that the Biden team is talking because of Cuomo is a bad idea. I think you do want to just let the CVS's and the Walgreens have it. I think that's the right answer. No one's more than an hour away from a Walgreens or a CVS or, whatever local drugstore is near you, whatever that might be. Go there if you want it, get it. They're going to give it away for either cheap or free to get you in the store, right? They're going to do that. So it's going to be cheap or free. They do it now. They can keep doing it. Let local doctors give it away if they want to also, or whatever, sell it, whatever the case may be. I think you let local people get it. If you want it, get it. Please go on. I don't want to be the one, Timothy, to tell you how to deal with your health. It's not what I want. There now is a thing they're talking about, which is giving $1,500 relief check for anyone who takes the vaccine. I am torn on this one. While I don't have a problem paying people to do stuff, I don't. I do feel that it does maybe feel like you're bribing people who are poor to take it. That does bother me a bit, but I'm still torn on it because, if you want people to take the vaccine, I'd rather that than mandate. I guess I'd rather that than mandate. So I'm torn on that one. But again, no matter what, I don't want to mandate. Any other scheme, I'm happy to talk about and to see how that would work. I would rather the private market give it out to people who want it. But as long as there's no mandate, I'm not going to cry. We'll find the right scheme. I hope that works. All right. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No one knows the side effects. If we're not sure the side effects, simply don't take it. That's why I'm against the mandate, right? If you don't trust it, you shouldn't take it. That's my point. And there should be, and I hope many of them, right? Different vaccines, I hope, that people can pick the one that they feel safer with, the one that they want to take. I hope so. I really do. I hope we can find, I hope we have more than just one. And that if you trust one of them, Tim, take the one you trust. Take the one you trust. Absolutely. Good on you, Larry, for making a way for your wife to stay home with the kids. Your family's better off for it. I think we are, Garrett. It's what she wanted. My kids love my wife being home. She became a bit more entrepreneurial. She had a couple side jobs. She did a couple side hustles here or there she's done. So I think it was the right case. I do. I do think it was the right answer. I'm glad we did it. It was very tough for me in many ways because I wasn't ready for it. But no, we dealt with it. So yes. So I can verify that Larry's teachers living in towns, there are 50% of teachers still living in my community. Yes, there are teachers who would stop and they would come out of retirement and they would teach in their communities if the environment and community was there for them to do so. Absolutely, they would. 100%. Yes. I have a friend who can't afford hearing aids. She thinks that government health care is the only way she'll be able to hear again. Yes. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. There are most people who think there's no other answer but government. Most Americans think that they can't imagine another answer. They just can't. It is, there, of course, are other answers, but we have to be able to put them out there. And right, we haven't done a very good job in many libertarian ways of doing that. We haven't, but we can. Absolutely can. So we have to be able to find a better way of making that happen. Yes. All right. I just noticed the Sharpe Way logo in the corner of the screen, and the golden arrow looks like a torch with the flames being the logo. I like you did. See that? See that? I was thinking when I made my logo. I was thinking. Someone noticed. I appreciate that. Yes, I appreciate that. Absolutely. So, Larry rocks. How is he not in office? Who wouldn't love this guy? Thank you so much, Shannon. I need more people to love me. Let's hope so. Let's see what happens. Yes. Let's see if we have more people who want to vote for me in the future. We'll see how that goes. Yes. Let's see. I don't want to blindly eliminate taxes. I want to eliminate the need for taxes, then eliminate taxes. Yes. Yes. Right? People talk all the time about, Larry, you weren't talking about cutting tax all the time. I wasn't. I was talking about reducing spending. I was talking about finding other ways of raising money. I was finding ways to eliminate the requirement for taxes. The community could pick up, right? An easy way for community to pick up, for commerce or community to pick up the slack. Then you get rid of taxes. Yes, exactly right. If you just eliminate taxes, you have one of three bad outcomes. One, someone else picks up the tax bill, right? You don't pay in this tax, or you pay in that tax. Number two, you just increase debt, right? More debt. Or number three, lots of people suffer because no one's going to pick up the slack. So those are all three bad outcomes. I don't like any of those. But if you eliminate the need for taxes, then you can get rid of taxes. And everyone's like, fine. Yes, absolutely. All good. No worries. So yeah, I think so. Absolutely. Yes. I work in education too. My students go every day, and I'm not sure if they'd be successful with their behaviors and habits if they were home. This is another issue, right? You're totally right, right? When you have kids who are at home, you also need structure. And again, this is my point, Benjamin. You're right. How many parents are prepared to make that happen? Most aren't. Obviously, Shelley knows how to do that, and her family and friends have done that. Community's done that. A lot haven't. You're totally correct. Which means maybe if government's going to stop, doing this, maybe start showing us family people how to do homeschooling. Maybe if they would support homeschooling and had supported for years or decades, there'd be people within our communities who would know how to do this, right? Who would be able to come in and set the appropriate structure and the appropriate way of making things happen and the right environment for us to actually learn in. I think you're totally right. Luckily, I was a teacher, so I can do that. And my wife's a stay-at-home mom. She has time and way to figure this out. So she's good. And my wife is very much about how things work. She's very good that way. So we can make it happen in our household. And many parents find ways of doing it. But it's hard. And it might take a lot of time. And the kids are going to suffer by the time the parents figure out how to do it because they haven't seen it done. They haven't watched it being done. There's not an easy way to figure out how to do it, right? It's not part of their normal routine. You're totally right. The issue is we as a society have to support homeschooling in general so that when this happens, there are people in the community who can go, oh, I got you. Done it before. Been there, done that. Know how to do it. I agree. And of course, to Andrew's point, there are probably teachers in the communities. If we had supported them, it would be common for teachers to teach for a while, either retire or whatever the case may be, and then do part-time job homeschooling, tutoring. Of course, that'd be a normal thing for them to do. And they also, of course, will be passing that knowledge on to parents. So, yes. All right. Common Core is the principles of math rather than rote learning and memorization. The problem is adults don't understand it, and it was rolled out in a very frustrating way for everyone, especially parents. Yes. So parents can't help their kids. This is another reason why, particularly in New York State, I'm sure other states too. Here's the reality. If you are in a position to where you can give your kids tutors, your kids will do well. If you can't, your kids will suffer. They'll struggle. Why do you think Kumon and Bright Kids and all those cool things are everywhere? You watch TV prior to COVID, obviously, not as much, but prior to COVID, watch TV in the morning, all the morning shows. Take your kid to Huntington Learning Center, Kumon Learning Center, but tutors. Give your kids tutors because they can't survive in today's world because Common Core trashed it all, because testing trashed it all, because standardized testing has destroyed education. Yes, you have to have a tutor. If you're wealthy, you bring tutors in. If you don't, you go to Kumon or whatever. Or if you happen to be lucky, you have a stay-at-home mom who can tutor the kids, or dad who can tutor the kids. Yeah, then you're fine. Or if you happen to be a former teacher, you can tutor the kids. But otherwise, your kids are going to struggle. Doesn't mean they can't succeed. It means they're going to struggle. Well, why would they struggle in normal? They shouldn't struggle every day. Tutors should be only for certain classes or issues where your kid has issues or concerns or can't do well. Or if you're wealthy and you give them the leg up. But the average kid without a tutor should be able to do well in school. Not today. That is not true. At least I know in New York State. I'm not sure in your state if you don't live in New York. But I know in my state, that's how it is. It is absolutely, you have to have some form of tutors or your kids will struggle unless you have a super gifted kid, right? And some people have super gifted kids. But not everybody does. In fact, most parents don't have a super, intellectually gifted kid. Most don't have one. But, whatever the case may be. So, all right. Hold on. By the way, are you the only person here who is filling out? Yes, that's correct. Just me. Just me. I'm building up my team this year, which is why I said January. I've been trying to build up sponsors, as you probably have seen. I'm asking you guys to support me to the best of your ability, right? If you can, there it is. Because the people who I'm using, this, by the way, this is time and money and energy, right? I am one of those entrepreneurs that I talk about, right? That's what I am. I'm an entrepreneur. If I'm not in front of clients, I'm not making money, right? So the time and energy I put to this, my research I do, the TV that I watch, the videos that I watch, the people that I talk to, responding to questions online, doing this, I create between 5 and 7 hours of live content every single week, plus all the time behind that. And those of you who do podcasts that at least another hour for that. So that's 14 hours at least every single week that I'm not producing cash for my family. My wife is a stay-at-home mom. This is why I'm bugging you all and why I have sponsors and why you see my commercials, so that I can do that, so that I can pay some other people and give them some extra cash to do things like engineer, chop videos, put up podcasts, all those things. So that is what, if you're asking, why is Larry bugging me for money all the time? That's the reason. So I can do this better with help and a team. That's the reason. So I hope I answered your question at least. Yes. So, all right. Let's see here. Let's see. My guidance counselor tried to convince my brother to go to Hofstra of music due to his talent. He went to trade school instead and learned something useful. Hey, music's useful. Music's useful too. Come on. So, yes. I remember when Netflix was a DVD rental service. Yes, that's where it began. Absolutely. 100%. And now they run the streaming world, right? They run the streaming world. Absolutely. Guys, I want to say thank you for today. I appreciate it. I'm going to take off. Thank you so much for all your comments. I'm sorry I couldn't get to all of them. I try to get to the minutes I can. In the next couple of weeks, I will be changing my team over so that we will be able to absolutely take on more comments, respond better to everybody, make sure things are working well. As always, guys, if you can support the show, please do so. Patreon.com/Sharpe Way. If you can throw me a couple bucks, that'd be great. $5 is fine. 10, 20. If you got big money, $200 a month. If you got the cash, and of course, please support my sponsor, theadvocates.org. They would like this to get around as much as possible, so share it to the best of your ability. It's free, costs you nothing. They really want us to do this. I'm trying to do it. You see me take the test myself. Take it yourself. Post makes everybody happy. Guys, thank you so much. I will see you all tomorrow.